Good morning. This is Julie Tillis. I'm a staff member at Women at the Well Ministries, and welcome to today's broadcast of Hope from the Well. Our guest today is Beryl Newsome. Good morning.
Good morning.
We are so glad to have Ms. Beryl with us today. She is one of the lovely volunteers that comes and helps with our sewing program, and I can't wait to hear what God has laid on her heart to share with us today. But before we get started, I just want to remind you of some of the upcoming events. We do have our Wonderfully Made Well Women's Conference coming up on Saturday, May the 11th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And if you haven't registered, then we still are selling tickets for $30 a piece. They also have t-shirts that are available, and we're going to have a few different guest speakers, and it's just going to be a wonderful time in the Lord and just praising Him for all that He has accomplished. So you can pay by Venmo, PayPal. Just give us a call at 423-745-0010. We'd love to get you put on our guest list. And then also they are still doing the sewing, all the sewing. We have graduation bears and the dogs right now, because I know graduation's just around the corner. Those are just beautiful, where people can autograph on them, and they can do them in your school colors. If you'd like to get that started, or any t-shirt quilts or memory bears, anything like that, just give us a call and we'd love to get something started for you. All right, and I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor, our faithful sponsor, Rebecca Hutzel. And so if you have any CPA needs, go see Rebecca. She's here in Athens. And without further ado, I just want to let Ms. Beryl give us a little bit of how you came to be involved with Women at the Well.
Well, good morning. I accidentally got into the program. And the way that it happened was I was fairly new into the community, and I wanted to go and join the First Baptist Church's ladies that they quilt. So I went for a few times, and then one day they said that Miss Patty got up and she was talking about this group of ladies that they needed some help, and that there were certain ways we could help, and that was really interesting to me. Except I didn't hear group of ladies, I heard trafficking, and I don't know why I heard that, but I've always had an interest in getting into that. So I thought, well, that's probably something I need to do. And then I kind of let it just lie for a little while, and then one day she brought some of the ladies from Women at the Well to come and quilt, and I had a lady with me, Kim, who is now on staff, and she was my lady, and I just adored her, and we had the best time. That one little 3-hour session we had to quilt it, she had never quilted, and I just loved her. And so then the next time I came with Miss Patty, still thinking I was going to work with women who had been in the trafficking environment. And I got in the car, and Miss Patty started telling me a little bit about the program and what was going on. And I went, this isn't what I thought I was going to be doing. But I just kept my mouth shut. We went on down the road, and we got here, and we went into this little house, and there were all these ladies around, and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. It was just ladies were in all sorts of recovery status, and I was confused a little bit, and I was a little bit apprehensive. And then by hour 3, I was no longer confused. I was no longer apprehensive. I was just having a ball, and it didn't matter. And these ladies start out with just, they come in here and they're lost and they're broken, and they're seeking the Lord or the Lord's will in their life, and they've got so far to go, and they don't see down the tunnel yet. They're just working a day at a time. And I sit there and I get to watch them. I come in once a week or maybe more, it depends on if we have some other activities we can do or if there's something that comes up. And I watch these ladies go from lost little souls that walk in and they don't know how to thread a needle, that's a minute thing to the whole program. But it's just a way for us to get to know them and teach them something, and then they learn how to do something they didn't think they could do, or they really don't think they have the knack for it, or the sewing machine scares them to death, it's going to attack them or whatever, So we have fun. I mean, we just have fun, and we laugh a lot. And we laugh a whole lot. The girls are so sweet,
Yes.
and they're so respectful, and they think we hung the moon, and who's not going to come back to that? So that just makes us feel great. So this is a ministry that is Christian based, that is all about Jesus. It's about how Jesus can make them whole again. And I watch them blossom and bloom and grow and expand and grow. And it's just like, I mean, you can tell it. I mean,
Yes.
I can remember back when I look at one of them and I go, that's not even the same person anymore. So if anybody ever gets a chance to ever work with these girls, they fill me up. They just fill me with the power of the Holy Spirit. It's nothing I can put into words and to tell you how wonderful it is here. It really is.
And I love the fact, everything that you said, Miss Beryl, it is so true because, well, a lot of the ladies too, some of them have been trafficked. There are, just how addiction kind of ties in with that. But I love that the Lord brought you here, and it's such a pleasure and honor to the ladies, to all of us here on staff, and to the ladies.
Yeah.
They really love it. They really do. And just that you take your time and energy and to pour back into, but it is amazing to watch the transformations that God is doing. I mean, it's just remarkable.
I have to tell you one thing that happened. My husband said, that's all I talk about is women as well. And I said, well, that's all I think about too. So he said, so one day we had this rocker recliner in our house, and we'd had it for I don't know how many years, and it was still okay, but I had it in my mind I had to have a new one. So I found one, and he says, well, what are you going to do with this old one? And I said, well, I think I can give it to the women at the well. They have different ways they make money, and they might be able to make some money with this, and if they can sell it or something. He says, well, I can't lift it. And I said, well, neither can I. And I said, but they don't seem to think they'll have a problem with it. So they sent out two young ladies, beautiful blonde-haired ladies, just cute as they could be, and in a van, a big white van. And that was all that got out. And Andy looked at me like, well, honey, who's going to lift it? And I said, honey, the girls are going to lift it. And so those two girls came in there. They lifted that thing up like it was a feather, got it in the back of that van, manhandled it somehow, and got it in there and took it and went off. And he never has said another thing about me thinking about the women at the well since then. But I think he really appreciates that thing that I get to do with him. Another thing I get to do with him is we try to get them, we start out with the girls, and we try to teach them how to run the sewing machines. And there's sewing machines, if everybody's using a different machine all the time, they're kind of in disarray a lot of times. We just have to go back and work with them and get the machines, because machines have their own little personality. And they'll learn how to run the machine, and then they'll learn about fabric, and they'll learn about how to cut we have these nice little cutters that'll cut your finger right off if you're not careful with them. And so we have to teach them how to be safe, and then they learn how to put these elements all together and come up and make something. And they made bags out of them. And if you see their YouTube, if you see Facebook, where they're on Facebook, they sell a lot of things that way. They'll sell them in all these different places. If you ever get a chance to look at that stuff, look at it. It's really, they make bears and memory bears and dogs and just all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's just great. And about the only thing I get to do after I teach them help teach them how to make these different things, give them clues and give them different easy ways to do things. But when they do make a quilt, and they've made many quilts out of t-shirts, and these are memory quilts usually for people who have passed away, and they want their family to have something to remember a father or a mother, or somebody that needs it, or maybe if somebody has a terminal illness and they need something special made for them. This group of ladies is all about helping people to preserve those memories. So they get the quilts put together, and I'll tell you something, in the quilting world you have piecing and you have putting it together and quilting it. So when we say quilt, that's to stand for the whole process. So they'll take these t-shirts and they'll do a beautiful job of putting them all together into a big blanket-sized piece of pieced fabric. And then what I have to do is they'll put batting with it and a backing on the back of it. And I have this big long arm thing that a lot of people have it who do quilting. But that's a part that I can do to help them, that they don't have the opportunity to do that, because that takes a special amount of equipment, because quilting by hand takes forever. Somebody asked me one time, why don't you quilt by hand? Did you ever want to make one by hand? I said, no, if I made one by hand, I'd die before I finished it. So I told them, no, I'll do it by the machine so I can get it done.
I don't blame you there.
Yeah.
Well, Miss Beryl, I know that you help them do so many things. Is there anything that you've seen that maybe they haven't had the chance to, I'm not one. I'm not the one that knows a lot about sewing. Yeah. They're the one that's like, don't touch that. They leave me to things like this. But are there any new things that you've seen coming that you would like to introduce the ladies to, or that you all have talked about? Anything like that?
I'll tell you, Miss Patty is the genius of creating things we can do. I mean, she's thought up 3 different things, and I could maybe think of one. And she's just a phenomenal person to come up with something new. The only thing I had that's new is this. In our church, we do some quilts for Habitat for Humanity, and they're doing this thing with just 5-inch squares, and we'll put them together in what's called a 9-patch, and it makes a big about 14-inch square. And then we put all these squares together into a quilt so that we can make a quilt for a bed. But I thought that would be an easy way to teach some of these girls. We have this thing called, they hear words like 1/4 inch, put right sides together, width of fabric, and that's like a whole new language to them. Right. So sometimes I'll just try to say, okay, I want to teach you girls today, I want to teach you how to measure with these rulers. We have rulers. Not rulers like the 12-inch ruler you're used to looking at. These are nice plastic rulers, and we have cutters that have rollers on them that I told you would cut your finger off if you let them. And so I just try to get an idea. If I think I've got something I can teach the girls, then I'll try to put it together and teach it out, in a systematic way so that they can remember it.
I'm sure, I know that you're doing a great job, because I hear many wonderful things about you.
Thank
and the
you.
Rest of them. I know I don't get to see you much because I'm usually up here at the big house.
Yeah.
But I know that everyone really, really appreciates all the work that you all do.
Well, let me tell you something. All the work we do is nothing to the love they give us. I mean, these girls they make me feel so special. Why wouldn't I come back for more of that?
Right.
Yeah.
It's true, and just the transformations alone, that is a beautiful part, because not a lot of people get to come and be in contact with the ladies during the program. Right. Because we are very structured and protective about not just anyone can come work alongside, and so that is kind of a very special privilege, I know.
Right, it
but
is.
That you get to be a part of that, and you get to come to graduations.
Oh
and,
yeah.
And all of the wonderful things.
The graduations are wonderful. That's like the cream, the little cherry on top of the pie.
That's right.
It's great.
It is. Well, Ms. Beryl, is there anything that you would like to share with anyone that is watching or listening about if there was anyone they knew that's struggling with something right now?
Yes, there is. Of course, nobody can do it. I can't do it without Jesus Christ in my life. That is our soul. Once we put our heart and our soul in His hands, then we can do anything His way, and that's what we need to do. And girls, if there's any ladies out there that if you're looking for a place, it is not easy, it is not hard. It's all of it. Some days are tough and some days are easier, but it's a process, and it takes some time, and you have to give yourself time. And I have to go home and I have to do my Bible study and my prayer time and everything. It's just a process. Just let yourself have the process.
Amen. That's true. No truer words have been spoken. But the Lord is the one that can get you through it all.
Exactly.
Every day. Well, Miss Beryl, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming and sharing with
Appreciate it.
us.
Mhm.
Yes, ma'am. And I just want to thank you all for tuning in and for your constant support of this ministry. And I just want to remind you, if you have Jesus in your life, you will always have hope. Thank you.